Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Uh, we got quite a few people telling us their favorite brands, local brands. David Michael Wilson said, off the top of my head, BCG. Suzanne Ingham said Medical Radio, Media Maya. Charles H. Jefferson II, he said, Bermuda is loved for their genuine efforts to make Bermuda better. Rosalind Famous said Stevens Beef Pies, Scooter Mart, Mailboxes. Ashley's Lemonade, she says as well. Polly Rich says Barrett's Ginger Beer, Scooter Mart. Yeah, Nicole Walker says Maya is a real vibe killer. Project. Yeah, tough crowd in here. Tough crowd. Yeah. Without further ado, let's bring our guest for the day. We've got the Chief Executive Officer of the Bermuda Credit Union, Ryan Robertson, Parent Chief. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Greetings, sir. Greetings.
Thank you for that.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Jamal? Good morning, everyone.
Well, I'm okay. I mean, I was trying to get people going with a little Monday joke, and my partner didn't really appreciate it this morning.
Yeah,
man.
Sorry, I'm with Maya on that one. Maybe it's generational. I don't know.
I was gonna say that you guys are pretty much the same age. Maybe it's that old folk thing. Yeah. Those going 40s. But Ryan, thank you.
I wasn't calling you old. I just said it might be generational.
I said it. Teo says it enough. He reminds me. Yeah. But no, thank you for doing this. I appreciate you making time for us. And before we jump into it, I've got to ask you the question I just asked the audience. What is one of your favorite local brands?
Oh, I was stuck on that one, but a couple come to mind. But I'm gonna go with Mr. Chicken. That's one.
Okay. Okay.
I like family-owned business that's sort of growing from strength to strength,
Okay.
and maybe it's because I just came from the BDC Awards on Saturday night. But long story short, Kristen White. I like her brand.
Okay.
And I like what she does.
All right. Cool. Mr. Chicken and long story short. All right. So we know what Ryan's got. Well, let's jump into today's conversation, Ryan. First off, congratulations on your new position with the Bermuda Credit Union. But tell the audience a bit about your background and what it is that you actually do.
Okay, sure. So in terms of my background, born and raised in Bermuda, I went to Bermuda Institute, graduated from the Barclay Institute. Then I did a year in Brazil with Rotary Exchange. Went off to school to study law at Durham in England, and then did a master's in public policy at Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar. Came back to Bermuda. I worked at the Cabinet Office in Economic Recovery and Development for a bit, and then transitioned to policy advisor at the Ministry of Finance headquarters before going to Conyers and doing my law pupillage, and then transitioned over to Bermuda Credit Union. I had been on the credit union board for 2 years. I was the vice president on the board, and then transitioned into full-time management at the beginning of this year, so January, and then took over as CEO in March.
Indeed, and once again, congratulations to you. Banking has been a hot topic in Bermuda over the last 2 weeks. And for years, I think especially after the George Floyd situation in 2020, when people were talking about boycotting, one of the things that people were talking about boycotting was big banks. But a lot of people didn't understand credit unions, like what they were. Just explain, what is a credit union and how does it differ from a traditional big bank?
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people mix this up and they think credit union, they hear credit association and they think we're coming to chase after them for debt and things like that, right? But the credit union is actually a global movement. We just happen to be the only credit union in Bermuda. And the general idea is when you go to a bank, you're a customer of the bank, and a bank is owned by a smaller group of shareholders, right, who make a profit from the bank. So it could be another company that owns a bank. It could be a few individuals. But when you talk about a bank, you're talking about a business where a few people own it and they make a profit off of the customers who use it, right? Whether that's through, fees or interest or whatever. At a credit union, the general idea and the reason that it's called a union is it's a cooperative institution. So rather than a private limited company or a public company or even a charity, a a cooperative is an institution where the members or the users of the organization come together and they earn and control it together. So a credit union provides the same or similar financial services that a bank will provide, savings, loans. We also have insurance products. But the difference is that at a credit union, you're not a customer, you're a member. So everybody who has an account at the credit union is a part owner. In order to become a member or an account holder at the credit union, you have to buy a share or equity to represent your ownership. And with that share, you have equal rights to the profits and the governance of the organization. So everyone who is a member of a credit union is also a shareholder in that sense. It's earned equally by everyone. And so when we have, for example, our annual general meetings, just like how a bank, their shareholders will meet and decide on the direction of the company, when we have our AGMs, all of the members are open to attend and everybody gets one equal vote. And they will elect the board of directors, they will elect the other supervisory and credit committees. And then that board of directors will then, hire me and professional staff to actually manage the business on a day-to-day. But long story short is everybody at a credit union is a member and a part owner and also a customer.
Okay. Audience, if you have any questions for Ryan, please send them through. To me, this is probably one of the most important conversations we're going to have about banking and business in Bermuda in 2024. I appreciate everything you just said, but there were still people who will sit there and be like, I still don't get it. So why is a credit union necessary in a community like Bermuda?
So maybe I'll go back a little bit to the history of credit unions, right? So credit unions were originally called people's banks. So in the modern era, they started out of Europe where, for example, farmers or the common people couldn't get access to financial services. So, if you're trying to grow crops for your farm and, you can't borrow enough money from a traditional financial institution in order to get your head start, what would happen is these people would come together and they would borrow and save amongst each other. So that is sort of the concept of a cooperative, right? Now, this tradition really goes back thousands of years. If you think about in Western Africa and other places around the world, the concept of club hand or susu, the general idea is people are coming together and they're respecting and joining in community with each other to get their needs met, right? So they're borrowing and saving from each other. Now, fast forward that to today, it's a credit union where essentially we're going to start our own banking or financial institution. We're all going to chip in. We're going to all save in one place. We'll also borrow from each other. And we have control over the organization. So if you don't quite get the concept, just understand that the type of business that we are is one where everybody who uses the products and services of the credit union also take an equal responsibility in its ownership and its governance. But on the front facing side, when you come into the front, it's just like, being a member or a customer of a bank in the sense that we provide the same services. The difference is just the leadership and the ownership and responsibility is on all of us equally.
All righty. Audience, I know you have questions. They're coming through. I'll get to your questions. And if you have any questions or comments for Ryan, I'll get to them in a bit. So I will get to you. All right. I just want to give a shout out to, I think it's Sahima NC. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member today. We appreciate you. You too can become a YouTube member. Just hit the join button. You mentioned membership. I like that. But who can become a member of the credit union?
So for those who may not be familiar with Bermuda Credit Union, you may know it as the BIU Members Credit Union. And that's because when it was founded over 50 years ago, it was originally open to members of the Bermuda Industrial Union and their families. But it has since expanded. So in 2017, a decision was made to open the credit union up to other unions as well. And then as recently as 2023, so just under a year ago at our last annual general meeting, the membership voted to say, we want this institution to open up to all of Bermuda. So to answer your question, Jamal, as of just under a year ago, the credit union is officially open in terms of its common bond of membership. Anybody that's living or working in Bermuda can become a member of the credit union. And so that is also reflective of why the name is now the Bermuda Credit Union Co-op Society and not the BRU Members Credit Union, because the members decided we want all of Bermuda to be able to participate in this financial institution that is owned and controlled by, everyday Bermudians.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think you just ruled me out. Living and working in Bermuda. I mean, I live between.
Well, you're still a Bermudian, right? So, your home and your base is still here, right? So
Correct.
Provided you're able to meet all of the KYC and all of that, there's no issue, right? You have people that will become a member and then they'll move away for a few years, or, they may go back and forth, it doesn't rule you out.
Yeah. I mean, it rules me out of being able to vote, but hopefully not banking. Let's go a bit more into the benefits, because I think that's the biggest thing we need to highlight about the credit union is what are some of the key benefits versus traditional banking. You heard me mention earlier, which it was just an idea, not something that probably will ever happen, but customer service, right, is very important to people. Many Bermudians you'll see complaining regularly about getting, calling customer service and not getting a Bermudian sometimes getting someone, but taking 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Is that a benefit? Like, what are some key benefits to joining the credit union versus a traditional bank?
Yeah. Well, I think customer service in Bermuda is going to be a challenge anywhere you go, because as you know, Jamal, the cost of doing business in Bermuda is very high, right? So when you talk about paying staff, when you talk about the resources needed to run an operation, it's a constant balance between giving value to your customers, but also making sure that, you're able to be profitable, right? In terms of the credit union, I guess we can go into a little bit of the products and services, right? So we offer savings products. So we have your regular savings account. Now at a credit union, we call it a shares account because you all have a share in the credit union. And normally, if the credit union turns a surplus, the members at the annual general meeting can vote to issue dividends, right? Because you're a shareholder. So as a member of the credit union, you're eligible for dividends if the credit union decides to issue dividends. Even if we don't, we still have a regular savings account that bears interest, just like what you would get at another bank. We don't have any fees for our accounts. So I know a lot of people might complain that the interest they're getting at other institutions is completely wiped out by the time they pay their monthly fees and, the maintenance and compliance fees and all the rest. So we have no fee accounts. And then in terms of loans, we also offer a variety of different loan products. And a lot of people like our loans because we have a fixed interest rate. So you don't have to worry about your payments unexpectedly going up if there's a change in the economy, for example. Whatever you sign up for to pay each month is what you're going to pay throughout the duration of the loan. There are no penalties for early repayment. And in addition, we have, because of the ethos and the mantra of our credit union is encouraging and empowering the members, we also have a mandatory requirement for each monthly loan repayment, part of it to go towards your savings. So if you ask somebody that you know is a member of the credit union that has borrowed from us before, one thing they'll probably say is, I like that I can save while I borrow. And by the time I finish paying back my loan, I'm going to have more savings than what I started with, because we make sure that with each payment, part of it comes back to you. So there's some of the benefits. We also offer insurance products. We have a small death benefit program where if you pay a monthly premium, you can cover up to 6 family members, where if something happens to each one of them, you can get a payout. We also offer automatic savings protection. And a certain insurance benefit for all members. So regardless, if you have a certain amount of savings in your account and you pass away, your beneficiary will get a little bonus. So those are some of the things that our members enjoy, but to each his own, right? And that is the nature of competition is, what's for some may not be for others. It's for you to sort of have a look and see if the credit union services meet your needs.
Mm-hmm. Real quick question. I'm not sure if I know you mentioned insurance and different loans. I know Charles H. Jefferson II, he's asking specifically for home loans. Did you specify which kind of loans?
So currently we offer personal loans. The maximum loan that we can currently offer is up to $100,000. As the credit union grows, we hope to expand into mortgages and larger loan amounts. But the nature of a cooperative and as a credit union, we have our own financial standards that we have to meet as well. And although we've been around for 52 years, we still have some growing to do, right? And so now that we've just opened up to the general public, it's going to take some time for us to organically grow to the point where we can expand our services, right? So it's something that's on the radar that we'd like to be able to offer in the future. But for now, we'd encourage your members to grow with us.
Indeed. Thank you for that, Ryan. I'll go to the audience in a few. Don't go anywhere else. But no organization or business or industry is without challenges. What are some of the challenges that the credit union actually faces to be able to deliver for the community?
Well, I think some of our challenges are those that will be shared by some of the other financial institutions, right? Is you have to cater to a wide spectrum of customers, in our case, members, right? So one of the things I was talking about in a recent interview was, as a not-for-profit institution, the credit union has to constantly try and find a balance between keeping up, right, with the needs of the Bermudian market. And we know our people, right? We want cutting edge, we want first class, we want whatever, the most developed countries in the world and technologies have. But at the same time, we have people in our community that are homeless. We have people that can't read or write. We have people that don't have access to email or basic services taken care of too. So we have a small staff of 9. And with that, we're servicing 6,000 and growing members. And we have to make sure that we're taking care of everybody with the same respect. And so one of the things, particularly as it relates to us as a credit union, because we're a cooperative, we're democratically controlled. As we know, Jamal, in any organization where there's democracy, things are going to take a little bit more time, because you don't have one shareholder who can dominate and say, I want it my way, and whoever doesn't like it, deal with it, right? We aim to come to decisions that are based off of collaboration and community. I think that that's more sustainable. It means that we're positioning ourselves to grow organically and have that strong community. But at the same time, things take a bit longer, right? So when it comes to technology, when it comes to making decisions, it takes a little bit longer because of the fact that we have to make sure everybody is carried along with us.
Got you. Yeah, indeed. Let's go to the audience. I got a few questions here. Mark Arthur C. Phillips is asking, good morning, Mr. Parent Chief. Has the AGM been announced as of yet?
Good morning, Mr. Phillips. No, it hasn't been announced. We haven't announced our next annual general meeting yet. But if your membership details and your personal information is up to date in our system, you will get a notification from us when the time comes.
All righty. Nicole Walker's asking, does the credit union have any plans to implement some type of e-card that allows members to use their funds electronically versus having to go in, make cash withdrawals for day-to-day expenses?
ATMs and debit cards are on the radar. It's something we would like to implement. We're looking in terms of the operation and the office setup and the technology to see what the timeline might be for that to be possible. In the meantime, yes, you can make deposits and withdrawals over the counter, but we also have online banking. If you need to get those funds to another local bank or financial institution, you can log on and make that transfer.
All righty. And so I think you might have asked, is there online banking? Is it feasible to use the credit union as your primary bank at this point?
Yes, we do have online banking. You can send and receive funds between your credit union account. You can send online to other credit union members. You can send to other local banks. The challenge you may have is, as we just saw, we don't have ATM cards as of yet. So if you need to take out cash and you don't have another financial institution, then you have to come to the credit union and withdraw over the counter. Other than that, the aim of the credit union is to become a financial institution of choice for all persons living and working in Bermuda. And so with that being said, continue to grow with us as we expand those services. But there are persons that do use the credit union as their primary institution, and they'll say, I only want to save and borrow from the credit union. I support you guys. I'm investing in the future, and this is my commitment. But, it depends on whether it meets your day-to-day needs, right?
Right. Charles H. Shafts asking, are the rates competitive? Are they published, and how often do they change? Speaking about the savings interest, I believe.
Sure. So for savings, we do offer fixed term deposits, which is when you can take a lump sum of cash upfront and you can say, I want to deposit this with you for 5 years. You will get a competitive interest rate on that. It'll go up depending on how much you save and how long you save. We also offer savings accounts. So the gift to myself account offers interest, and the rate is 0.5% per year, again, with no fees. In terms of loans, we offer a variety of different loans products, and you can look on our website and learn more information about them.
All right. And I was just going to ask you, I mean, how can those interested, and be careful because this audience will call soon as the show is over, but how can those interested in joining the credit union get started today?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is because we recently opened up and expanded the membership, we also just partnered with the BEDC around Cooperatives Week and International Credit Union Day. There's a very high demand for persons that are looking for alternatives. And so there's a lot of people that are lining up to become members of the credit union. So we've actually had to implement an appointment system. So if you go on our website at bcu.bm, you can book an appointment to become a member, and you can come in and speak with us. There's also a tab on the website that says membership, and it's going to tell you everything you need to join.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for that. A question from Charles H. Jeffs II. He's asking, does the credit union offer services to convicted criminals?
So yeah, that's interesting because Jamal, you were talking earlier about the throne speech, and part of the premier's commitment was to enact legislation that will require all banks or financial institutions to provide everyone with a basic level of service. One of the good things and something we pride ourselves on at the credit union is because we're finance meets community, we don't discriminate. So we have, all sorts of walks of life of persons that are members of our credit union. We believe that everybody, regardless of your history or your background, deserves to have basic access to financial services. And so even before we opened up to all of Bermuda, one of our key principles in terms of how we run the credit union is we exist also to take care of those who are traditionally excluded from society. So yes, that those include persons who have been incarcerated. It includes persons who have been homeless, all sorts of walks of life. We try to accommodate because we do believe that everybody needs to be able to have a basic bank account and be able to save and be able to have somewhere to store their cash safely. And I think you'll find that from our staff, from my team and colleagues, and from the experience of other members that we do seek to take care of them.
Gotcha. We've got Steve Reynolds asking, does the credit union have plans to implement/utilize CBDC's services?
So when we talk about digital services, I guess I would have to ask the member what they're talking about specifically. We're working on ATM machines. We have online banking currently. In terms of digital currency and things like that, I would say that's a bit of a ways off. It's something we'd have to consider. But in terms of the credit union's plans, that is determined by the members. Obviously, at the staff level, we're always looking to see how we can innovate and grow the credit union. But we also take direction from the general members. So when we have our annual general meetings and things like that, it's for the members to decide where they want us to focus our priorities.
All righty. Nicole Hassel says the credit union is a great service for small loans and savings. I've been a member for 3 years and was surprised I received dividends at the end of the year.
Thank you, Ms. Hassel.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. Right. I mean, I guess my final question is very simple. How can we, in our role, as a part of a voice in the community, ensure that people understand that the credit union is a viable option and in their best interests? What can we do?
Yeah, I think we have to advocate and educate, right? For a long time, right? So we've been around since 1972. The credit union was only targeted or open to a segment of the Bermuda population, right? Which was persons who were connected with the unions. Thankfully, the union and the members decided that the credit union actually has the potential to be a lot bigger, and it has the capability to grow into an institution that can take care of the entire Bermuda community and actually be Bermuda's quote unquote bank, right? We're not a bank, but we can be that entity that takes care of the community in terms of their financial needs. So I would just say, whether you're a member or not, learn about us, discover what membership means and that responsibility, with the understanding that if the credit union succeeds, the community succeeds, because we're here to take care of the community. Our primary interest is not profit, it's
Mhm.
service and value to our members and the community. So if our membership has a potential to encompass all of Bermuda, then naturally, if all of Bermuda are members, and our goal exists to serve the members, then we exist to serve Bermuda. So when you're talking to your local MPs, when you're thinking about government policy, when you're discussing on the job about, what organizations you want to support, if the credit union is supported and if the credit union grows, then the entire community grows, because that's what we exist to do, is to empower the community financially. So I would just ask the public to keep that in mind. If we want Bermuda to have an institution that can take care of our financial needs, where we can save and borrow and let it be something that's earned and authentically Bermudian, then the Bermuda Credit Union is that place. I would just ask that you grow with us, right? Because if we grow together, then we can eventually reach that point and that vision that we have, which is to be the financial institution of choice for all persons living and working in Bermuda.
Indeed. One last question from the audience. Charles A. Chefs II. He's asking, what amount do we need to deposit to open an account?
So you're going to need $57 in cash. So $50 is going to be your permanent ownership share, right? Because I mentioned that every member is a shareholder. So that $50 is what stays with us for the duration of your membership. And then in addition to that, you're going to have a $5 minimum savings balance in your account, and then a $2 account opening registration fee. So that adds up to $57 that you will bring when you come for your appointment to open your account.
Yeah, I want to end it with this comment by Shamari Tolbert Ulrich, because I think this sums up my thought exactly. He said, many people talk about Bermuda not owning its own bank. We do own our own bank. We just haven't invested in it. Ryan, thank you so much for this conversation. I think it's important that we keep this going. Maybe just having a conversation specifically about the fixed term deposits, maybe like just walking through the process of opening an account, speaking about, just how it differs and its true benefits. But I'm grateful that you've made time for us to have this conversation. And audience, when you reach out and then you have your meeting, go there and let them know why you opened this account. Let them know Ryan said this on the Daily Hour and it piqued my interest, and here I am. Because I know we had a CEO of another bank on one time, and he reached out and he said, man, people were blowing up the phones right away. This is your community bank. I hope that we get that same thing and that the appointment book is full through January. All right, Ryan, thank you so much. And don't be a stranger, brother.
I'm here, and I'm here to answer any questions. And I want to thank you for inviting me on the show and giving the credit union a chance to sort of showcase what we have to offer. So to the general public and to your listeners on the Daily Hour, I want to say thank you for the time. As the sign in our banking hall says, the credit union is not a bank, but it is banking on progress. Grow with us. So we are experiencing a high volume of persons that want to become members. Have a look at the site. It may take some time before you're able to come in and meet with us, just because we're dealing with that influx. But we do hope to see you soon. And we're confident that when you do join and become a member, you'll feel like you're taken care of by us and our All Bermudian team, our small but dedicated and experienced staff, and our membership community, where we're all owners of this institution. So as Shamari said, this is the Bermuda financial institution. And we're looking forward to growing and serving to take care of all of Bermuda at some point. So I want to thank you, Jamal, for the opportunity. And visit our website at bcu.bm, and you can learn a bit more about our products and services.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. And we'll be in touch. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. You too.
All right, Ryan Robinson, Parent Chief Executive Officer of the Bermuda Credit Union. Folks, if you appreciated today's conversation, do us that big favor we ask every day. Give us a like, love, follow, share this conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. You all have not been happy about your banking options in Bermuda. This morning, you got a reminder that you have another option, and it's yours. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 41 seconds. And when we come back, one of you will have an opportunity to win this week's prize. Stick with us.